Welcome to Metals Investors Forum. My name is Brian Leni. I'm the editor of Junior Stock Review Premium. Today with me, I have the CEO of Ridgeline Minerals, Chad Peters. Chad, Thank you so much for presenting with me.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Let's start high level. Let's talk about the business model, how you're running Ridgeline, and what it looks like in terms of the projects and the JVs they have.
Yeah, you bet. So Ridgeline's a hybrid prospect generator. So what that means, just in a very simple way, is we have our own 100% owned projects that we explore ourselves. We're always trying to offer that blue sky, how big could it be kind of potential there on discovery. But we also have partnerships with some pretty big majors, Nevada Gold Mines, which is a joint venture between Barrick and Newmont. We have 2 deals with them in Nevada, totaling $40 million US in potential expenditures. And then we have another $20 million US deal with South 32 Limited on our Selena project. So, $60 million dollars in deals in total, free carried interest all the way to commercial production on all of those deals, which certainly worth getting into. But yeah, good deal structure. And what we really realized was, when you're going after early stage discovery and trying to, make new discoveries in new areas, you need deep pockets, right? Like you need to be able to drill through that first miss, that second miss, and then hit the big score, right? And so that's what bringing in a big partner is able to do that a junior may struggle to work through. So yeah, it's been a good business model for us, and we're seeing year on year more and more money being spent. Last year was $11 million. This year is going to be $10 million in partner funded. It's a pretty exciting time.
That's excellent, and probably the best jurisdiction in the world, Nevada.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Let's drill down. Selena, I would say, from an investor's perspective, from my perspective, is probably the most exciting portion, and it's that much more exciting because it proves out the model that you guys, why you staked it. All those reasons are starting to come to fruition.
Yeah.
Oxides at surface. We've got the sulfide target. You've got a couple holes that have just kissed the edge, it looks like, of the discovery, and it just proves out your model. So let's get into the Selena, the CRD model, and what brought you to where you are today.
Yeah, Selena's actually an interesting one because it was my least favorite project in the portfolio in 2019, right? I was like, Selena, low grade oxide at surface, blah. And so I wasn't that pumped about it. And actually my VP exploration, Mike Hart, he was like, no, I think there's actually something here and we need to do a little more work. And so we started digging in on it, started drilling, realized, okay, this is considerably better than what we thought. We were hitting pretty nice, 35 meters, a half gram gold and 70 grams silver in the early days. Realized we had a pretty interesting silver and gold deposit. But as we started drilling back towards the porphyry, which sits on the edge of our project, the lead and zinc numbers started going through the roof, right? And we started realizing, okay, this isn't just a typical gold silver project in Nevada. This is something much different. And so we then switched the exploration focus to being a CRD or a carbonate replacement style deposit. Best example is actually South 32's Hermosa Taylor deposit in Arizona. And once we changed that focus and started putting that kind of a exploration kind of lens behind it, that's when it really started cracking open. And so we identified, all right, we got this big oxide deposit. Ridgeline put about 10,000 meters of drilling into it. It was our flagship. But then we realized, all right, there's like 2 kilometers away under the valley floor, there's an incredible target here that would be a big sulfide system, but we can't afford to drill it. It was right in the middle of a terrible market. So we brought in South 32 as partners and pitched them on that idea and said, look, 18 months and 5 drill holes. And you know whether this is real or not. Luckily for us, a second drill hole, we tagged into it, right? And we announced some pretty substantial drill results. The combined intercept was about 27 meters of roughly 7 or 8% zinc. Almost an ounce per ton silver. There's gold, there's copper, there's antimony. It's a pretty significant discovery, which absolutely validates our model. Hey, this model works. It may take time, but it does work. And we're going to see a big, $5 million exploration program, I think, this year, all funded by South 32. Ridgeline runs that exploration, actually makes 10% of every dollar spent. So we actually are able to write off the majority of my team's expenses are covered every year.
That's excellent.
Just by that. So yeah, it's incredible leverage to discovery, and I think it's going to grow a lot in 2026. So
absolutely. And speaking of the silver component is incredible. Looking at the oxide portion, the near surface portion, maybe it's 70 million ounces. That's my number, not yours.
Yeah.
And so when you look at that, I think the market's really missing the boat especially on your valuation.
Yeah.
When you look at that size of that
Let's
target,
drill down on that. How about we?
yeah,
I could talk all day about how I think that's an undervalued story, but if you look at resource stories in the silver space, right? Like, true silver juniors are absolutely ripping right now. And I think one of the problems that we have is we have a really exciting silver lead zinc project, Selena. We have gold projects. We have copper projects. And I think one of the issues is retail investors really love to try to put things in boxes and say, well, I'm a gold investor. I'm a copper investor, right? And what I'd like people to look at it and go is say, well, actually, I'm agnostic as long as there's real value here and potential for, real scale. It shouldn't matter, right? Gold's ripping, silver's ripping, copper looks great. Right. I think investors should take a little broader view of that and go, well, you know what? This has silver, gold, and copper, and lead and zinc. It's a great opportunity. So I certainly think that the story has been a little more difficult to tell because it's a multi-commodity discovery. If I just went and drilled a big 27-meter silver or gold, we wouldn't be having
much more straightforward.
We wouldn't be having this market cap conversation, right? So it's I think it's going to take a little more time for people to get it.
Yeah. But
when they do, it could be pretty exciting for us. So.
And definitely not playing second fiddle because the potential there is just as great or maybe even better with Swift.
Yes.
And you've got the Nevada gold mines, it's a major in itself in terms of what it means in production and their focus. And they're obviously the money they're putting into it is very meaningful.
Yeah.
Take us through the potential there.
Yeah. So we need to deal with Nevada gold mines at our Swift project in 2021. They've now spent $14.8 million in that time frame, US, which is huge. I could never afford to spend that kind of money on grassroots exploration like they are. And every drill hole was hitting wide intercepts of low-grade gold. And we've had a few sniffs of up to a meter at 10 grams, directly on trend of a 23 million ounce gold mine. We're talking 5 kilometers away, same fault zone, same host rocks. I mean, we know we're onto something big. NGM's excited too, and that's clearly evidenced by the fact that every year they're pumping more and more cash into that project. So they're going to spend another $5.2 million in 2026 for a total of $20 million US in a 4 or 5 year period. That to me, that's phenomenal, right? And I think we're on to a discovery. I think both Selena and Swift are at very pivotal times right now where this is very much a year where we need to show some meaningful, very, very meaningful high-grade drill results to really back up these discoveries. Yeah. Everyone knows there's potential there, but it's time to show these could be, Swift could be a 5-10 million ounce discovery. That's the kind of things you go after in Nevada. And that's why I love exploring there because we're not going after, million ounces here. We're going after a tier 1 deposit.
Absolutely.
We have tier 1 partners. So I throw that word around a lot, but it's an exciting time.
Absolutely. What about the rest of the project portfolio in 2026? Are we going to see anything there?
Yeah. So what we're doing, kind of part of that hybrid model that I didn't really get into is, to replay, you got to have continued deal flow, right? So as we're bringing in these deals with the majors, we're always trying to add new projects, early stage. What is the next Swift or the next Selena? That's what we're trying to bring in. So we're always looking at new opportunities. We have a couple 100% owned projects already in the portfolio that are showing promise at both Big Blue and our Atlas project. Yep. One's copper porphyry, the other one's gold. So we're going to be advancing those, probably not spending a ton of money, probably not going to drill them this year, but they are going to continue to get advanced, continue to maybe bring in new partners, et cetera. And we're really going to lean into our partnerships this year, I think, especially, right? And wait till hopefully we get that re-rate in the stock. Market cap goes up a bit. And yes, I will put some more capital in the ground in earlier stage stuff, but kind of being careful with how we spend our money.
Excellent. And then you've also got a 20% position in Spartan, which is really a nice wild card or X factor considering where tungsten is.
Yes. Yeah. So we kind of just timed it lucky, to be honest, right? But we staked a very good tungsten project that actually we thought was going to be silver lead zinc back in 2024. Realized it was one of the highest grade past producing tungsten districts in US history. And so we kind of saw that tungsten play kind of coming. It was already heating up in 2024. So we vended that project to a company we really liked, rebranded it as Spartan Metals, and we own 19.9% plus a 1% NSR on all metals. So for about $150,000 investment on Ridgeline's behalf, that's equated in an 18-month period into about $4 million in equity right now. And I think that could go up substantially from here. So we can use that as a non-dilutive way of funding Ridgeline's activities, right? If that stock continues to move, we can monetize some of that position and then rotate that into riskier exploration that does have big upside with Ridgeline. So yeah, I think it's a good model.
Yeah, you guys are in a terrific position, and to me is are a screaming buy in terms of the value that you get.
Can I put that on my list?
You can.
Okay.
So, Chad, thank you very much for presenting with me. I really appreciate it.